I feel I have the privilege of feeling at home and doing my Ingausa. So I would like to speak in English and Hausa where necessary. My English is not so good, and my Hausa has been corrupted by my stay in Abuja, so you have to pardon me. But I think something must be done on the last table. What we are discussing is very important. The last man on green has not been with us for some period of time. We are here for a very, very important business. If only you understand. Yesterday, I just flew in from Lagos. I had to wake up and leave my hotel room around 4:30 a.m. Sure, some of you are sleeping at that time. I made a presentation to senior members of NASME. I'm sure those that are into business know what NASME stands for. Wallahi, they gave us their full attention and we gave them our time. I was supposed to come to Kano yesterday. I saw the attention they gave us. They're elderly people. We're young men here, majorly, and ladies. So let's give it the time. Businesses are very important. They are better than the suit and tie you see us wearing. You would see a trader by the roadside. He has much more money than you can ever think of and that you would ever make if you join public service. So you better respect it. We have seen the impact of small businesses in several countries. Those that have been to Germany, those that have been to China, those that have been to the Netherlands, will tell you that it is small businesses that move their economies. And these businesses require experience and patience. Ladies especially have this patience. They may lack the experience. We are willing to give you all that you may require, especially in this part of the country. And let me shock you. When I started working with the Corporate Affairs Commission, I was surprised, even though it was over 10 years ago, when I heard that the number of registrations carried out in Kaduna are more than the ones we see in Kano. You would be surprised. It is shocking. Kaduna gari Mboko, very close to the Corporate Affairs Commission. You have Unity Road. A stone throw from Quarry Market. That means we do not appreciate formalizing our business. But on the contrary, Lagos, because they are informed, they will never and can never be compared to any other state. I think we need to close that gap. We need to formalize our businesses, especially because of these online activities. Everybody wants to know whether the government knows you exist, and you need to do this. You are a legitimate person. We know you are an individual. But what of your business? We need to formalize it. So please give me the attention and the time. And inshallah, I will give you all that you may require in terms of time, and expertise and experience. This is what we want. A lot of people are looking for this kind of experience. Make it count. The weather is cold. Don't just leave your homes and come and while away the time. If you came here to learn something, make sure you learn something. The initiative that Hajia has done, it's uncommon. I'm saying this from experience. You hardly find this kind of invitations. You hardly find people inviting you to tell them this. These are things that people give money to attend, to learn how to manage issues. So please, listen attentively. The first complaint I got from here is a complaint that should be handled by Kano office. Unfortunately, they could not handle it. You may have the opportunity of hearing something here that you may not hear from Kano office for whatever reason. And if I live here, only God knows when I return. If I would ever return that. So it's an opportunity. So let's get to business, please. This is, by the way, we need to tell ourselves the truth. Am I controlling or you are giving me the... Next slide, please. Okay. From the invitation, I was told that I would have to say something about practical approach to CAC registration and ease of doing business. This is all English. This is all grammar. But then for us to appreciate what ease of doing business is, this is it. For those of you that want to know, you'll be hearing ease of doing business in the news. Ease of doing business. Wani turanci ne na World Bank da sauransu da sauransu. Kawai dai a sauwaƙe kasuwanci, sauwaƙe register. The most important thing is they look at regulatory best practices. It includes construction, permits, registration. That is why CAC is involved. Registration of businesses. And the hurdles and difficulties you get from registration would count in rating a country either high or low in terms of the ease of doing business index. This is academics. Next slide, please. Well, why do you have to register? It's your business, it's your money. Must you register? If you want to register, or if we're advising you to register, why are we advising you to register? These are some of the reasons. First of all is the requirement of the law that you need to register. And you know the law is always the law till it is changed. And the law says you need to register, so register. So if you want to carry on your business, for example, my name is Awal Sani. I can carry out my business, right? But if I add anything to my name, I register. That is the law. Trading company, Awal Sani Trading Company, Ventures Enterprises, and Sons and Co. That is the law. It is only when you register that the government will recognize you. And it is only when the government recognizes you that you can have access to facility. Funding, we've been discussing funding. Most of you have the experience, but you don't have the funds. But nobody will give you funds in your personal capacity except if you are related or you have an understanding. And you can be able to get government intervention. Yes. And unfortunately, for failing to register, a lot of us don't get the required government intervention. I'm saying this from experience. Last year, we did the registration of the free federal government registration of businesses. I was disappointed. This thing is free. Some states had theirs coordinated. Some states misused the opportunity. And unfortunately, I don't think Kano explored the opportunity as it should. That's in the past. Third parties would want to know whether you are registered before they deal with you. Somebody has never seen, he's just hearing of something. He wants to know what is the name of your business. Said you are not registered. How can he take you serious? It's not possible. So you need to register. And perpetual succession. This is a legal terminology. A business, if it is a company, not a business name, it is called a legal person. So it is like a person that has life, but it is not human. So your business can obtain land, your business can enter into transactions, only that business would require directing minds as directors. So the business is independent of the owner of the business. If you have a company, that company is a company. You may be a director in the company, but when you die, another person can take over and continue running the company. That is perpetual succession. I don't know if we were clear about this. Okay. Next slide, please. So we go to the registration process. We know we need to register now. At least going by my advice, if you take it, you know you need to register. This is in summary our registration process. Since we said that a business is a person, that means that person must have a name. It's like giving birth to a child. You need to name your child. So you first need to name your business. And I advise you get a good name for your business. Your name, as required by the law, must not be similar to another existing name. What is the name of this venue? Amani Events. We cannot open another Imani, or we will not open it, even if we can. We will not open it. The law does not allow it. So that name, Amani Event Center, even if people come and fight here every day, that name is taken till it is struck off the register of registered entities by the Corporate Affairs Commission. And that is a serious thing. So when you have a name, that name is yours, and nobody can use it. And nobody can use a similar name. He has to distinguish an existing name from a new name. So your name, the name you want to give your entity, whatever you want to register, must be a name that can be differentiated from existing ones. Sorry? Abin da na faɗa yanzu shine, kamar yadda muka ce a baya, na san Malam Kabar yana jotin nan, shi yasa kuma Hausarsa ingantacciya ce, saboda haka ba sai na uban ne yi turanci na tunda aka gani da kwasu dama aka ringa ce min good morning. Saboda haka uban ne yi turanci na zauna, ba su fassara su fassara. Na ce zan yi ingausa. Ingausa ba fassarawa wace hajiya. Ƙarin bayani ne kawai da Hausa. Abinda na ce, kamar yadda muka faɗa a baya, shi kamfani, ba na so in ce kamfani saboda ba kamfanoni kaɗai muke wa rajista ba. Akwai abubuwa da suka shigo masu zaman kansu, ba kamfanoni ba ne, amma mu a Hausance Hausar mu kamfani ta sani, kuma kamfani ma turanci ne ko. To shi kamfani yana zaman kansa ne. Wai dan ka buɗe kamfani za ka mutu ka bar shi kuma kamfanin ya ci gaba da aiki. To shi ne muka ce tun da shi kamfani ana ɗaukar sa kamar mutum ne, yana da rai amma kuma rayuwarsa ba irin ta mutum ba. Zai iya mallakar fili, zai iya shiga harka ko hulɗa irin ta kasuwanci. Kamfani akan kansa, sai dai kawai za a samu daraktoci waɗanda za su yi aiki a madadin kamfanin, tunda shi kamfani ba mutum ba. To shi ne muka ce idan har ka zo za ka buɗe kamfani, mu a wurin CAC mataki uku muka sani. Mataki na farko shi ne tun da dai aka haifi ɗa dama sai an sa masa suna. To haka kamfani sai ka samu masa suna. Kuma sunan da za ka ba wa kamfaninka kada ya kama da sunan wani kamfani da aka riga aka yi wa rajista. Sai dai idan an soke wannan kamfanin rajista. Shi ne ce ko da a ce a kamfanin nan akwai matsalolin da kullum aka je dan ba kawai ake a tashi. Akwai matsala tabbas an sani, hukuma ta sani, amma in ba soke masa rajista aka yi ba, ba za a baka wannan sunan ba. Kuma na ba da shawara idan za ka ba wa kamfanin da suna, ka ba shi suna mai kyau. Zan iya koma turanci na ku. After reserving your name, okay. When you send your name for reservation, you send it through the portal. And the portal can be accessed through CAC website. The address is www.cac.gov.ng. It's a common place. Even if you type it in Google, Corporate Affairs Commission, corporate with COR, not COO, Corporate Affairs Commission. The website would be easily located. The amount, the fee we charge for reservation of name is 500 naira. So with remitter charges, you end up paying maybe 600 or 500 plus. But it's 500 naira. You are, sorry? 165 naira. Okay. So the remitter charges is 165 naira. So that is 650 naira. So that is the amount you pay for reservation of name. And when you are reserving the name, you are expected to send two names. First name and an alternative name in case the first option is already taken. And there is a search window. You can always know whether the name you want to register is registered or is taken by another person. And it will surprise you to know that most of the names that you are suggesting have already been taken. Yes, the Corporate Affairs Commission has been registering companies since 1914, before even the Corporate Affairs Commission came into place, because there are businesses in Nigeria. So you have to find a name that is not similar to an existing name. An officer at the back office would check whether the name you submitted is registrable. And you know that you can search for an existing name free of charge by going to search.cac.gov.ng. Just go there. You have internet, Mala. Please, can you open for everyone to see? I think we need to demonstrate this. Search.cac.gov.ng. When you go there, if a company is really registered and it doesn't have any problem, it needs to be there. It must be there. Search.cac.gov.ng. You don't have internet. Okay, by the time you get internet, I think we can check it again. So you check for existing companies, because you can't be entering names and wasting your 500 naira and wasting your time and energy, and then the money will just go like that. You have the opportunity of seeing registered companies or registered entities so that you can choose a good name for yours. An officer will look at it and approve. We need to differentiate in reserving a name between the name of a company and that of a business name, and that of incorporated trustees. And we have limited partnership and limited liability partnership now. There are guidelines, but we don't read. Whatever you see on an internet page is important. Read it. Read the guidelines before you proceed. That is why we went to school. That is why we know. That is why we learned. So if a name is approved, the approval will last for 60 days for you to proceed to registration. On the expiry of the 60th day, that name would be available for another person to use, and it will surprise you. You will enter a name now, and somebody will want to use that same name. He'll be waiting for 60 days to expire so that you enter that name, and he'll get it. So that is name reservation. We'll proceed to registration. When a name is reserved and is approved, and you want to register, as a director or proprietor or a shareholder of a company, we need your full names, your address, that is residential address. We need your email address. We need your phone number. These are very important. Then the means of identification now. By January, inshallah, we will not require your means of identification. You have to have your NIN number. If you don't have your national identification number, don't even bother registering. Or you must have an NIN. You have bank accounts. You have a phone number. You have some other means of ID. So for us to confirm, because sometimes you give some professionals all these things, instead of them to use your means of ID, they just go and doctor other people's means of ID, which is criminal. They don't even have to come back to you because you gave them money, and they don't want to come back to you for you to know that since I gave this guy money up to now, he has not done anything. You just go and forge another means of ID and upload it. That is criminal. And we'll start doing prosecution in that regard. But for now, from now till the end of December, yes, this is. So I don't know if anybody has any business that he knows is registered. Any company? Triple M. Enter triple M. It's just triple M. Remove the communications. Just click search. Because you may have Muhammadu, Mahmoud, and Mahi, they want to register their company, their communication company now. They want to register triple M. If your internet is slow, I think. If they come see that this is registered, they don't have to enter the name triple M. They can search for another name. So NIN is important. So what we will now do is we'll just enter your NIN and all your details will come up. So we don't even have to request for means of ID any longer. For now, you have to sign. The use of signature will be dispensed with. That is registration. When you do the entry, of registration details, you are expected to pay 10,000 naira when you are registering a business names. For a company that has 1 million shares, for the first 1 million is 10,000 naira, and every subsequent million is 5,000 naira. So the share capital of your company will determine how much you are paying as filing fees. That is with the exception of stamp duties payment. I'm sure you hear the song as outrageous, right? Because professionals don't charge you 20 or 30,000 naira to register companies. Yes, they will charge their professional fees, and we cannot regulate what they charge. That was why the Corporate Affairs Commission, looking at the ease of doing business, said that it's your small money, it's your initiative, you want to put it to good use, okay. So you can see, you have something that has to do with triple M. You can see the entities that are registered with triple M. So all this, scroll down please, all this cannot, all similar names that are similar to this cannot be registered. And this information is free. So if anybody comes to tell you now that he has a big company, they are based in Lagos, they will fly you to Dubai every month, or you have to invest 5 million naira, ask him the name of the company. Ask him to sit down. You can use your phone. Confirm. In this place, can you see view paid service? Yes. Click this. If somebody tells you that he is a director in a company, you can easily tell. You pay 1,000 naira here. Scroll, please. Scroll up. Scroll up. You enter your name, your email address, and your phone number. The directors of the company and the shareholders will appear. But please go back. You will only get accurate information for companies whose status is active. You can see most of these companies are inactive in the status. That means you can see Triple M Allied Projects Limited. Since 2020, the Commission changed its approach to registration because the law that the Commission was using to register businesses was amended, was reenacted. That is the Companies and Allied Matters Act, CAMA. After being in operation for 30 years and longing for amendment, it was finally amended in August 2020. So there was the need for the Commission to know those companies that are even active. So the CAC now requested that all companies, since it's a new portal, if you know you have a company, just approach the CAC, send an email, request the CAC to update your records. Because we have almost 5 million records, we can't begin to update the records. Some of the directors of particular companies are dead. For some, there are no living persons in the company. So we can't go and update it. It will be a waste of time. So try to do it on need basis. So we said for your company to be active, we have to know that you have filed your returns. We have to see your returns. We have to know the directors. Well, all you need to do is to send an email to spu@cac.gov.ng. spu@cac.gov.ng. Just request that the details of your company should be updated. Yes, spu@cac.gov.ng. And the CAC will update your records. But for you to confirm that your company has been active or is active now, we have to see that you have filed your returns and your returns is up to date. So that is why, if you notice, you see most of the companies are showing inactive. Anybody that is up to date as to the filing of his returns, you find out that the company will be reading active. So that company that is showing active, when you check it, You find the details of the directors and the secretaries and the shareholders, everything. You don't have to go to CAC, and even if it is in the middle of the night. So let's make progress. If there is need, well, you know, the law has already recognized the right of all documents, whatever is filed at CAC, whatever information is the public information. So anybody can request for any information. But it is restricted. We have restricted it now based on data protection laws and policies of the federal government. Issues like your signature, your date of birth would not be available. They will not be available now. But before now, all this information is available. You can obtain certified true copy of anything that is filed at CAC. Anything. And we used to give them out. But now with the introduction of this, yes, the date of birth and the day itself is not revealed. Your signature will not be revealed. But if law enforcement agencies approach the commission, will readily hand you over. Readily hand you over.
Ya binciki sirrinka da aka ajiye aka adana shi a gunsu ba tare da kai ka sani. Ga shi ya fi doka ta ba da dama a da suke ne ka da ranar da aka haife ka inda za a kalle ka dai yadda kake siffar za a kyale. Amma yanzu saboda wata kariya ta musamman domin a kare ka kare mutunci da mutuncinka isa ka dan koye aka sarranta wasu abubuwa ba wanda zai shiga wannan lungun da sakon sai watakila su ma'aikata.
Kuma sauran ma'aikatu idan sun buƙaci wannan bayanai ne na sirri amma za mu ba su. So when an application is filed, the payment is made, as I said. An officer, after submission, at the CAC will review it, and it will surprise you. If you have interactions with lawyers or other professionals that are filing applications at CAC, they will tell you now that if you file things properly, inshallah, within 48 hours, you get your result. There are exceptions. Since these things are done online, you can see some people, somebody just suffering from insomnia, you just wake up and do his job. Some people work on Saturday, end of the year, Christmas, you get results. And since these things are electronic, you don't have to even go to CAC. You get it through their email, you download on their dashboard and send to you. I'm sure some of you have experienced this. Certificate will be generated, which is the evidence of registration. These are the three major steps involved in registration. What is most important is you have to give it a try. And it is very important that you register. And when you register, you jot down things. In the interactive session I had yesterday, there was an engineer, a very elderly man. He told me that he registered 2 companies himself. I was surprised because some people were complaining that it's difficult, they cannot do it. CAC has a way of just deceiving people. The man said, no. You know, when you want to do this, you have to do it like you want to do it. And there will be tests along the line. But when you are determined, you will do it. I don't think registration of business is difficult in Nigeria, at least any longer. Business names or companies. Next slide, please. So what can you register? As an entrepreneur that wants to register, what can you register? You can register a business name. And business names are just small trading units, trading entities, ventures. And if they become so blessed, sometimes you'll be surprised with the kind of money they generate, business names. And there are companies, and we can see the types of companies that we have. Companies limited by shares, limited by guarantee, or limited companies, and private companies and public companies. The most common company is the one that we know, limited. That is a private company most of the time. That is limited by shares. Mostly, the most common too is 1 million shares. And when I say 1 million shares, I don't mean you giving CAC 1 million naira. It's just the number of shares in the company. One thing is very important now. With the reenactment of Kano 2020, you have the opportunity of registering a one-man company. One-man company. Before now, there has to be 2 persons to register a company. Now you can have a one-man company. We noticed that registering a 2-person company always has issues. When the company begins to flourish, there will be problems. Or when the company is in problem, there will be problems. You have issues between son and father, husband and wife, 2 good friends. The law now brought one-man company. So you can register your company, only you, as the sole director and sole shareholder. I take the whole of the shares of the company. That is if you don't want to register a business names. The law also brought partnership. There is limited partnership and there is limited liability partnership. In limited partnerships, mostly apply to professionals, accountants, lawyers, and the rest. It's like a business name. But a limited liability partnership is like a company. And let me give you a scenario. You have expertise or experience or know-how, and another person has money. And you don't want to follow the intrigues and intricacies of writing an agreement after registering a company. You register a limited liability partnership. It's a corporate entity. You have the partnership agreement embedded in the registration. You don't have to go anywhere. So you can alter the agreement to suit your understanding. And then you adopt it and you register it. It's a partnership. It doesn't have share capital, but you know the percentage of the profits that you are entitled to whenever there is profit. And if there is loss and there is agreement as to sharing of loss, you know what percentage of the loss you will have to take responsibility for if that happens. That is for limited liability partnership. And unfortunately, and very unfortunately, I do not think, apart from the 2 or 3 persons that I had registered in northern Nigeria, I'm not saying Kano State, I don't think it is still appealing to people. And this is a place where entrepreneurs can explore. You just have some agreement, partnership agreement, you adopt it and you continue your business. And you are bound by the agreement. So these are registrable entities, what you can register as an entrepreneur. I've not heard any question. Can we make progress? Okay. Next slide. Okay. If you enter the CAC website and you don't see this, you are in a wrong place. This is the landing page of the Corporate Affairs Commission. You can see public search. And this public search will lead you to that area, that search that we did for all companies. And you can see online registration. So if you want to register online your company, you can go ahead and register. But please, if you are not part of any company, don't try to enter your details because you'll be caught up in a mess that you require assistance from Abuja before you can resolve. If it is your company, register it yourself. If you are guiding somebody, let him enter his details. We are still fighting with our colleagues, the lawyers, because they said we have taken food off their table. Yes, we are still fighting with them. They are still complaining because you can register yourself. So do not take that opportunity to now start doing a fresh trade when you can make it elsewhere. Allow them as accredited agents, because they pay for that accreditation, to register multiple registrations at a go. If you enter another person's phone number or email and you got stuck, you will require assistance from Abuja, and Abuja is a very busy place, and you have to call today and call tomorrow before your issue will be resolved. That is my little advice. So this is online registration. You create account, and creating an account is like creating a Yahoo account. So you proceed to registration, and when you are registering, whatever you click, don't just say okay. Know the meaning of what you have clicked. Don't go and join EFCC case, buy it yourself before you even finish registering the business. What is this limited liability company that I want to register? What is this business name that I want to register? And make inquiries. There are frequently asked questions. Unfortunately, the helpline at CAC is not as efficient and effective as we want it to be. But a standard helpline will be available, inshallah, by the end of the year, to be launched in January. So you can always call from 8 to 6, and your complaints will be responded to. This is all for registration of entities. I will take questions after I take the next few slides. Please, the next slide.
Duk wanda zai online registration ya zo wannan dokin forward ya ga public search ya ga online registration to ya san salamun amma idan ka ga babu waɗannan alamomin to ka kiyaye wajen kaje ki fada cikin rijiyar su da fara. Public search abu daya daga can bangaren dama online registration kun kadai su ne alamomi na cewar kana cikin gida da abincin CAC.
Let's go to the next slide, please. Thank you, Marco. You can see the things you can do. When you go to registration, you can see public search here too, in case you forgot to search for the name, whether the name is available. And when you want to reserve a name, you click on reserve a name. Pre-incorporation are all the activities you do before you register. And post-incorporation are activities that you do after registration. Okay. Let's say you have registered your company. You have an existing company registered now. You don't want to be giving lawyers or other professionals to do your transactions for you. You want to man the activities of your company yourself. You can do your post-incorporation, but before you can do that, you would have to write the CAC, download a form electronic entity account. You download the form and fill and submit to CAC headquarters. You give your means of ID and your valid email address. The CAC will respond by sending username and password to your email address. So whatever changes you want to make, you make that changes yourself. And you can take the risk of giving somebody your login details, and he can move you as a director and shareholder of the company, and you'll be in trouble. We should know that login details, wherever you hear username and password, they are very important. So if you give them out, you give them at your own risk. And sometimes the risks are very costly. You can imagine, we know what we see. We know how people get removed from companies that they have established. Last week in Lagos, a lady was telling me how she was pushed out of a company that she took pains to establish for almost 20 years. And the turnover of the company is almost 40 million. And she was pushed out of the company and she has to start afresh. So when you are giving, because the company does not carry your passport, we don't have records of what transpired in meetings. It is what is presented to us. So if you give somebody your username and password, you are giving him the key to your house. Whatever he takes, it's up to you. You can end up in court. Next slide, please. There is a new phenomenon, an official ownership disclosure that the Kano 2020 has brought. The Kano 2020 calls it person with significant control. What this seeks to do is, sometimes you have, and it is in line with commitments that the Nigerian government entered on behalf of Nigerians, that there will be transparency in business activities. We know that sometimes some people establish companies, but we know that those running the companies are not the real persons behind those companies. I don't know if I can use Malan Kabara as an example. Let's say he stumbled upon $1 million outside, and he knows that he doesn't want to have any dealing with Abdul Rashid Bawa. He doesn't want any meeting. He finds somebody that he knows is running a lucrative business and gives him that money to run for him. Or he opens a filling station and he gets his nephew that is unemployed and makes him the manager of that filling station. And you wonder, this young man that is roaming around unemployed all the time, he has just become a millionaire overnight. What happened? You don't know who is behind that business. So in line with the commitments of the Nigerian government, the law has now made it mandatory for those persons that are hiding behind the curtain to appear so that everybody can see them. If you want to know who the person is, we know this is a difficult thing, especially in Nigeria, but at least we need to start from somewhere for them to appear so that everybody will see them. So the Kano 2020 has made it mandatory at the point of incorporation. You disclose the beneficial owners of the company. That is the person with significant control. And that significant control was defined by the law as anybody who has more than 5% of the interest, the entire share capital of the company. You know that that manager that Malan Kabara has appointed, even though he is called manager, maybe his resignation letter is in Alan Kabara's file, so that whenever he misbehaves, he'll be called to sign, or it will be dated and given to him. So we want to know those powerful people behind companies. So I just decided to bring it to your notice. You disclose it at incorporation, that is before you register, and it is mandatory for you to disclose. And you disclose it when you are making changes. Maybe Malan Kabara has gotten all the benefit that he wants from that filling station, and it's maybe selling to Hajia.